I woke up because my phone vibrated on the nightstand. It wasn't a loud ring, not the kind that jolts you out of a deep sleep. It was just a soft, persistent buzz that cut through the absolute silence of the room. I remember reaching for it, half asleep, squinting at the bright screen. The clock read 3:17 a.m. I fumbled with the phone, expecting to see a late-night text or a missed call notification, but there was nothing. No new messages, no missed calls. The screen was completely blank, just the time glowing in the dark. And the vibration stopped the very second my hand touched it. I lay there for a moment, my mind still foggy with sleep, and just listened. The house was dead quiet, no wind rustling the trees outside, no distant hum of cars passing on the main road. It was that profound, almost unnatural silence that only happens in the deepest part of the night, when you feel like the entire world outside has stopped breathing. It was unnerving. I set the phone back down on the nightstand and closed my eyes, trying to will myself back to sleep. A few seconds later, it vibrated again. Same soft, insistent buzz. This time it was a call, but there was no caller ID, no name, no number. Just a blank white screen and the steady, rhythmic pulse of the vibration against the wood of the nightstand. I stared at it, and just like that, I was wide awake. Every trace of sleep was gone, replaced by a cold, prickling sensation that crawled up my spine. My first instinct was to ignore it. A wrong number, maybe? A telemarketer from a different time zone. But at 3:17 in the morning, it felt wrong. I didn't answer. I just watched it buzz and buzz, letting it stop on its own. The call finally ended. The screen went dark. A moment of silence. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. And then immediately the phone vibrated again. Same blank screen, same strange anonymous call. And the time at the top of the screen hadn't changed. It was still glowing mockingly at 3:17 a.m. My heart started to race, frantic pounding rhythm against my ribs. This wasn't a glitch. This wasn't a mistake. Someone was trying to reach me. The thought was terrifying. After a few more rings, a strange mix of fear and curiosity got the better of me. I snatched the phone, my hand trembling slightly, and pressed the green button. I didn't say anything. I just held the phone a few inches from my ear, afraid of what I might hear. And what I heard was breathing. Slow, shallow breaths. Like someone was holding the phone close to their mouth, trying not to make a sound, but failing. The sound was so clear it felt like they were in the room with me. "Hello?" I finally whispered, my voice barely audible. The moment the word left my lips, the breathing stopped. The silence on the other end was sudden and absolute. It was even more terrifying than the breathing had been. Then, a voice spoke. It was quiet, calm, and eerily neutral. A man's voice, I think. It said just 3 words, "You're awake." And then the line went dead. The call ended. I was left sitting bolt upright in my bed, staring at the dark screen, the stranger's words echoing in my mind. "You're awake." It wasn't a question. It was a statement. I frantically checked my call log, my fingers fumbling with the screen. I scrolled through the recent calls, looking for the number, for any record of what had just happened. But there was nothing. No incoming call, no missed call. It was as if it had never happened. The log was completely empty for that time, and my mind raced, trying to find a logical explanation. Maybe it was a glitch in the network. Some kind of delayed alarm or a system error that my phone was misinterpreting as a call. That had to be it. It was a stupid, creepy glitch. I placed the phone face down on the nightstand, as if that would stop it from bothering me again, and forced myself to lie back down, pulling the covers up to my chin. That's when I heard it. A sound from downstairs. It wasn't loud, just the faint, unmistakable creak of a single floorboard, followed by another. Slow, deliberate footsteps moving through the darkness of my house. I froze, holding my breath, straining my ears to listen. Every nerve in my body was on high alert. The footsteps were careful, measured. Someone was trying to be quiet. They moved across the living room floor, each creak of the old wood sending a fresh wave of terror through me. Then, the steps stopped. They stopped right at the bottom of the stairs. I could almost picture someone standing there in the pitch-black hallway, their head tilted up, looking towards my bedroom door. My phone vibrated again. The sudden buzz made me jump, and a small gasp escaped my lips. I grabbed it, my heart hammering against my chest. This time, there was a name on the screen, caller ID, but it wasn't a number. The name displayed on the screen was mine. My own name was calling me. I stared at it, my mind unable to process what I was seeing. How was that possible? It was my own contact, my own name flashing on the screen. I didn't answer. I couldn't. I just sat there, paralyzed, watching my own name call me over and over again. And then the footsteps started again. They were on the stairs, climbing. One slow, heavy step at a time. Creak, pause, creak, pause. Each sound was a nail being hammered into my coffin of fear. I was trapped. There was nowhere to go. I watched my bedroom door, my eyes wide in the darkness, waiting. The doorknob began to turn. Slow, slight movement, as if someone was gently testing it, checking to see if it was locked. Thank God it was. The phone buzzed one last time, the screen lighting up the room in a bright, terrifying flash. It wasn't a call this time. It was a text message, and my hands were shaking so badly I could barely read it, but I did. The message was from my own number. It said, "I told you you were awake." I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. I sat there, backed into the corner of my bed, clutching a lamp like a weapon, watching the door until the first light of dawn crept through the window. The house was silent again. The footsteps had stopped. The phone was quiet. When morning finally came, I crept downstairs, my heart still pounding. I checked everything. The doors were all locked from the inside. The windows were all secure. There were no signs of a break-in, no footprints in the dust on the hardwood floors. Nothing was out of place. It was as if no one had ever been there. I felt a sliver of relief, mixed with utter confusion. Had I dreamed it all? Is it just a vivid, terrifying nightmare brought on by a late-night phone glitch? I tried to convince myself that was the case. I needed to believe it. I went back to my phone, ready to dismiss the whole thing. I opened my call log, expecting to see it empty, just as it had been during the night. But this time it wasn't. There, at the top of the list, was a new entry. A single missed call. It was logged at exactly 3:17 a.m., and the caller was my own number. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've ever had a creepy experience you can't explain, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more unsettling tales. Stay safe out there. Have you ever felt like you're being watched? I mean, really watched. It happened to me last Tuesday. It was just after midnight, and our whole street was pitch black. Everyone was asleep. Was at my bedroom window, just staring out when I noticed it. Single light glowing in an upstairs window of the house across the street. Now that might not sound strange, but here's the thing. Nobody lives there. The house has been empty for months. The family just up and left one day, and it's been vacant ever since. Cars, no mail, nothing. But there it was. A steady, unwavering light, like someone had just flipped a switch. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe the old owners came back for something. Still, a cold feeling settled in my gut. I tried to sleep, but a few hours later I woke up suddenly. When you're pulled from a deep sleep for no reason, my clock said 2:43 a.m. I looked out the window again. Light was still on, but this time something was different. There was a figure standing in the window. Tall, dark silhouette, perfectly still, just standing there, blocking the light. It was just watching. My blood ran cold. Then, after what felt like an eternity, it moved. It slowly raised an arm and waved. A stiff, deliberate wave right at me. I jumped back from my window, my heart hammering against my ribs. I couldn't breathe. I forced myself to look back one more time. The figure was gone, and then the light blinked out. The house was dark again, as if nothing had ever happened. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. The next morning I had to know. I walked past the house on my way to work, my steps feeling heavy. The yard was a mess. The paint was peeling. I looked up at the window, the one from last night. My stomach dropped. It was boarded up. From the inside. I haven't looked out my window at night since. I woke up without any warning. No sound, no movement. Just the sudden, heavy feeling of being watched. The kind that pulls you out of sleep before your mind has time to catch up. The room was dark, but not completely. Moonlight slipped through the curtains, casting pale shapes across the walls. Lay still, listening, trying to understand why my heart was racing. That's when I saw them. Someone was standing at the foot of my bed. They were tall and thin, their shape barely separated from the shadows behind them. I couldn't make out a face. It's just a darker outline against the darkness, perfectly still. I told myself not to move. I didn't want to give them any sign that I was awake. The air felt colder, heavier, like it was pressing down on my chest. I focused on my breathing, slow and shallow, hoping they would leave. They didn't. Slowly, the figure leaned forward, not a step, to bend at the waist, as if they were examining me, watching my face, studying my breathing. My hands clenched beneath the blanket. I wanted to scream. I wanted to reach for my phone. I couldn't move. After what felt like several minutes, the figure straightened again. Then it spoke.
Yeah?
You sleep through it every time. The voice was soft, almost curious. The figure turned and walked toward the bedroom door. The door opened without a sound and closed again just as quietly. I lay there until morning, staring at the ceiling, replaying the moment over and over. When daylight finally filled the room, I got up and checked the house. All the doors were locked. All the windows were closed. Nothing was out of place. That night I searched online for similar experiences. Sleep paralysis, DEET, terrors, hallucinations. All reasonable explanations. Until I checked my phone. So there was a recording in my voice memo app. Time-stamped at 3:02 a.m. I didn't remember making it. I pressed play. All I heard was my own breathing, and another voice standing close to the microphone. "You almost woke up?"